generate, and spread knowledge to form transforming agents. This is the goal of the biggest university of Rio Grande do Sul, state northern region, and one of the biggest from the country's southern region. With half a century of history, UPF maintains its roots in educational excellence, research and extension incentive, and the constant search for technological innovation. There are 9 campuses that are distributed around the region and 12 academic units, offering undergraduate, specialization, master's, doctorate, and postdoctorate courses. The infrastructure is a great differentiator. There are clinics, rooms for practical experimental teaching, laboratories, amphitheaters, auditoriums, and libraries with hundreds of thousands of titles available, both in physical and digital format. UPF stands out for the quality of teaching, academic, investigative in nature, the dialogue with the community, the performance in the job market of professionals who have graduated from this institution, and by the qualified teaching staff with teachers who promote the renewal of methodologies for the teaching and learning process. The research incentive in the university generates and disseminates knowledge. The extension reinforces the university's commitment to the community, with projects and programs that, through services provided, approximate academics to social reality and contribute to the sustainable development. Along with a university's social responsibility policy, the institution promotes citizenship, environmental awareness, social inclusion, culture, and development. Major events are held at the university. An example is the National Journey of Literature, one of the greatest literary manifestations in Latin America. The Radio UPF and UPF TV broadcasters with open signal and educational character provide the community with cultural programming focused on local development. Facilitating access to higher education, the university has several lines of credit, scholarships, and funding, benefiting more than 70% of students. One of them is the PAI, UPF's own financing program. Every semester, possibilities of exchange are offered to students through agreements with institutions in several countries. Acknowledgements strengthen the greatness of UPF. The university is among the best private institutions in Brazil. Its courses received grades 4 and 5 in the assessments made by the Ministry of Education. The institution has also received in recent years other important awards, such as Social Responsibility, granted by the State Legislative Assembly. The Planalto Medio UPF Scientific Park contributes directly to the development of the region. Connecting innovation, science, and technology, the UPF Parque, with its technology-based incubator, supports and encourages innovative projects and local entrepreneurship. Providing quality of life, UPF offers to the academic community services that favor inclusion and permanence in higher education and the construction of great stories. The university has a community center, a leisure environment to eat, interact, and rest. This is the University of Passo Fundo, an institution that prioritizes ethical and humanistic formation. UPF. Knowledge is our nature.
Hello, all. We are glad to have you here this morning in this online event, and I'd like to welcome everybody. I'm Professor Luciane Sturm, the coordinator of the International Office at University of Passo Fundo, Universidade Passo Fundo, no Rio Grande do Sul, in Brazil. We'll be here for this. And sorry, I will be the mediator of this event. Today, we have one more webinar of the Consortium of Community Universities in Rio Grande do Sul, known as Comung, that is the largest higher education system in the state of Rio Grande do Sul with 14 institutions. Today, we have Professor Márcia Borba, that is going to talk about crossing frontiers through research. And this event, just a moment. I will mediate this event, and you can use the chat here to introduce yourself and also make questions that we will discuss when Professor Márcia's end the talk. We also thank everybody who were and who are involved in the organization of these webinars, and thank the people who are here with us to watch the talk. And I thank very much Professor Márcia to be here with us to share her experiences with international partnerships and researches. So I will present and introduce Professor Márcia. She conducted her undergraduate studies in dentistry at the University of Passo Fundo, and she received her PhD in dentistry area, dental materials, from University of São Paulo in 2010. She joined the University of Passo Fundo in 2010 and serves as a professor of the undergraduate and graduate programs at dental school. In 2018, she did a postdoctoral internship in the University of New York. And more recently, she began collaborating with the graduate program in manufacturing process and project from engineering school. So thank you, Márcia, very much to be with us. And you can start your presentation.
Thank you, Luciane. I'm just going to share my screen. 1 sec. I'm glad to be here today and share with you some of our internationalization experiences in University of Passo Fundo. As you saw in the video, University of Passo Fundo is located in the north of Rio Grande do Sul state, Brazil, and the university has 52 years of history. Its actions are based in 4 pillars: teaching, research, extension, and technological innovation. The experiences I will share with you today are mostly related to our research activities. We have approximately 60 undergraduate programs in different areas and 15 graduate programs with master level and some of them with PhD level as well. As Luciane mentioned, I am a professor at the undergraduate and graduate programs in the dental school. Our graduate program was approved in 2010, and it has master and PhD level. We are a total of 12 professors that develop research in different fields of dentistry. Most of the professors have international experience. Most of them participated on exchange programs during their PhD or postdoc. And I believe that international experience really helps us to develop the internationalization activities in the university. We have 3 different research areas. Biomaterials, which is my main research area, and we develop biomaterials and evaluate them and new technologies. Evidence-based dental clinic, in which we develop studies involving techniques applied in dental practice, and preventive dentistry, where epidemiological studies are developed. Today, I'm going to share with you some of our strategies for internationalization for the undergraduate and graduate program. And also, I will discuss some of the challenges and opportunities. I am a member of the research group Biomaterials and Biotechnologies, which also has as members Professors Álvaro de la Bona, Paula Benetti, and Pedro Corazza. You can see them here in this picture when we were having a group meeting with Professor Jason Griggs from University of Mississippi, which is one of our international collaborators. The first strategy that I want to discuss with you today is to stimulate students to study international scientific literature. I believe that being part of a research group would be the first step to involve the students in the internationalization process. The most updated and relevant scientific information is published in English. So the students, they have to overcome the language barrier to study their research topics. They start getting curious on what type of research is being developed in other countries, how the research groups perform their activities, how they interact with each other. We also have group meetings to discuss scientific topics and to plan research projects. I had this experience myself when I was an undergraduate student, and I try to replicate this experience with my students because I really believe it's a first step to engage them in the internationalization process and is a really successful strategy. Most of the experiences I will show you today are related to the activities of this biomaterials research group. We do have other groups in the university and in the graduate program, but I will share with you the ones, the activities I am directly related. Another important strategy is to stimulate the students to attend, to present their research projects, and even to organize academic events. Nowadays, a lot of the international conferences are held here in Brazil, and many local conferences invite international speakers. So sometimes the students don't necessarily need to cross the frontier of the country to have an international experience. For example, last year we organized the annual meeting of the Brazilian Dental Materials Group here in Passo Fundo, and we had 2 international speakers, Professor Yu Zhang You can see him here in this picture with one of my undergraduate students. Professor Yu Zhang is one of our international collaborators. He is recently in University of Pennsylvania, United States, and he came to Passo Fundo to be a speaker in this national conference. We also received Professor Maria del Mar from University of Granada, Spain, which is another of our important international collaborators. And she develops a lot of research on optical properties. Here in this image, you can see the research group on optical properties, Álvaro de la Bona and Oscar, which was our postdoc student, and he is from Peru. So in this situation, our students, they didn't even have to leave campus to watch a lecture from a foreign researcher or to interact and present their projects during poster presentation. As we evolve in this process, we always try to stimulate the students to interact with the international researchers. That interaction can happen during the conferences, as I showed you earlier, but we always try to plan a private group meeting, a private moment when we can discuss our research project and academic activities with the visiting scholar. So here in this image, you can see our undergraduate and graduate students in a group meeting when they were presenting and discussing their projects with the visiting professor Yu Zhang. And that was an important moment, in my opinion, because we were organizing the national conference. So we were not sure if we would have time for a private group discussion. We were really busy, short on time, but the students, they were really motivated to have this project discussion. So they organized everything themselves. And you can see in the picture that everybody is well dressed up because we came directly from the conference. It was the last day of the conference. We went directly from the conference to the classroom for this project discussion. And in my opinion, that was a big achievement because we had previous experiences with visiting international researchers. And usually we have to push the students a little bit to present their projects. But at this point, they were very willing to. So we could tell that all our effort to get the students engaged in this internationalization process was showing some results. And I need to point out that all the discussions and the project presentations were in English. So that's a big challenge as well. The strategies I showed you can be applied for both undergraduate and graduate levels. But we know that for the graduate program, we may have more possibilities. So when we have these visiting international professors in University of Passo Fundo, we always try to include them in the project committees of our master and PhD students. So here in this picture, you can see one of my PhD students, Katia, and she was presenting her thesis project to Professor Jason Griggs here from University of Mississippi, and we included him in the beginning of the discussion of the project. So we plan everything as a group, and we include in that planning a possibility of an exchange program. For graduate students, we also feel that they may be more motivated to attend international meetings. So here in this other picture, you can see Rodrigo, another of our PhD students, and he was receiving an award for a research he presented in an international meeting. It was Academy of Dental Materials, which is a very important conference for our research field. And this conference was held this year here in Brazil as well. This project is very important because we also planned with the collaboration of Professor Jason Griggs, and we discussed the ideas, we did all the scientific part together, but all the experiments, they were performed here in University of Passo Fundo. We could use our laboratory infrastructure to do all the experiments related to this part of Rodrigo's research. And I wanted to highlight that because I believe that now we do have universities in Brazil that have good infrastructure. So our exchange, our collaborations with the international researchers go beyond sharing infrastructure. We are really trying to exchange scientific knowledge so we can produce more relevant researches. Another possibility for the graduate level is to engage the students in exchange programs. So here you can see Rodrigo and Katia again. As I mentioned, we involved Professor Jason Griggs in their projects from the start. So we planned all the experiments and the scientific ideas together so they could participate on an exchange program in University of Mississippi. And they stayed in UMC for a year or so, developing part of their researches in a program that we call a sandwich PhD, where the student can do part of their PhD studies in Brazil and another part in an international university. Both students have the support of CAPES agency for their scholarships, and that's also an experience that I highly recommend for the graduate students. I was a student myself in University of Mississippi during my PhD. I did part of my PhD there, and it's an amazing experience. You can attend the lectures of the international university. You get training in different methods and technologies. You get to interact with different professionals, different cultures. So I believe that's an experience that really opens your mind for what's going on around the world. Well, let's talk a little bit about the challenges. I bet that most of you may think that our biggest challenge is to get the projects funded. I need money to travel abroad, to receive researchers. Well, from my perspective, that's not our biggest challenge. Our biggest challenge is communication. And I showed you that we received in the last few years 3 important international collaborators in University of Passo Fundo. Jason Griggs from University of Mississippi, Yu Zhang from University of Pennsylvania, and Maria Del Mar from University of Granada. But the only way we could include more students in the activities was by using simultaneous translation. And that's a big problem because we cannot use this resource for all the activities. When we are organizing a conference, we may have the support to hire this type of service. But when we are doing the activities inside the university, we may not have the same support. And usually the professors, they do that translation themselves. Anyway, you will lose a lot of the quality of the interactions. I showed you that image that I was very proud of the students presenting and discussing their projects with international experts in the area. But I really would like to have more students in that room. I think that having 15, 20 students to share that moment, that international experience, is not good. we should have more students engaged in the activities. But the English language is a big limitation, the lack of knowledge of English. The other point is when the students want to participate on exchange programs, they also have to prove proficiency in English language. The international universities and the agencies that sponsor the international scholarships, they will require the students to have a minimum level of the English language. That's a big challenge as well. And another important point is that we would like to receive more international students in University of Passo Fundo. We do receive some international students that speak Spanish. I showed you, we had Oscar, that is from Peru, and he did his PhD in Spain. We have some students for the undergraduate level that comes from Mexico, other countries from Latin America. But unless the students have some familiarity with the Portuguese language, their academic activities are very restricted. So I believe that we need to have more activities inside the university in English language so we can receive more students from other nations. As a group, we saw these limitations, we discussed all these challenges, and we decided to offer a course in English for the graduate level. And that's not an English class. We're not teaching the students how to speak English. We are discussing topics related to education, research, extension in English. We have been offering this course since 2018, and I believe it has been a successful experience. We can tell that the students feel more motivated to speak and study English. They also look for other activities inside the university where they can practice their academic English. Next year, we plan to include students from all the graduate programs of the university. And I really would like to have the opportunity of offering this type of course for the undergraduate level as well. Internationalization also improves interdisciplinarity. Biomaterials is an area that interacts with many different areas: engineers, chemistry, biology, physics. So our international collaborators, they have different backgrounds. I guess that none of them are dentists, actually. Professor Jason Griggs is a material science engineer. Professor Yu Zhang and Maria Del Mar are physicists. So it's very different areas, but we interact to solve the research problems together. And I believe that it adds extra quality for the researches. And that interdisciplinarity allowed me now to be part of the graduate program in design and manufacturing processes of the engineering school, where we plan to perform researches involving development of biomaterials, developing tests, different methodologies to test the materials, and also new equipment. As a result of the applying all these strategies, and that's not an easy task, but it's we have a lot of pleasure on doing that, and is a long time of interactions. It's not something that happens quick. There's a long time that our group has been interacting with other international groups, and we can see some of these results coming up. So we have two important official agreements between University of Passo Fundo and University of Mississippi, and another one with University of Granada. And also we approved 2 important projects that are funded by CAPES and FAPERG's research agencies. One of the projects was that was approved is in collaboration with Professor Álvaro de la Bona and Jason Griggs from University of Mississippi. You can see one of the pictures of a day that we visit University of Mississippi. When we know that we have one of our international collaborators visiting Brazil because he is a speaker in a meeting or he has other academic activities, we always try to plan a visit to University of Passo Fundo. And when we travel abroad, we do the same. When we go to United States for a conference or to Europe, we always try to plan with our collaborators visits to the universities. That's really important as well, because I believe it makes our interactions better and we have a closer contact with the researchers and all the activities that are going on in the international university. The other project we approved is one of my projects with Professor Yu Zhang. I did a postdoc in New York University under his supervision. And during this period, we planned further collaborations. One of these projects was approved as well. Now, Professor Yu Zhang is in the University of Pennsylvania, and we are keeping the activities in progress. In this image was of my period in the postdoc in NYU. And you can see Professor Yu Zhang research group, some professors, some students, and I was very involved with their activities as well. These 2 grants, they are very important because they aim to support the internationalization of the graduate programs of Rio Grande do Sul State. So they support not only the research activities, but they also support visits to the universities. And this program includes both professors and graduate students. Well, but then you may tell me that we have a new challenge, right? A brand new challenge this year, and borders are closed. So how I'm supposed to visit University of Mississippi, how I'm supposed to send my students or receive international visitors? Well, physical borders are closed, but the interactions, they are not. Now we have other possibilities. Some of them, they already existed, but we did not use them so frequently. So that's a print screen of my last meeting, my last research meeting with the group from University of Mississippi. And here's Professor Susana Marocco, Professor Jason Griggs, that were in United States, Rodrigo and I, that were here in Brazil. And we had a high quality discussion in the same level we would have if we were all in the same room. Most researchers were already familiar with these online conference tools, because we cannot visit the universities all the time. But I believe that now more students and more professors are using this type of conference tools. Rodrigo and Katia, they stay a year or so in University of Mississippi, and they already came back to Brazil, but they still can attend the group meetings from UMC because all the meetings are organized online. So although they came back to Brazil, they keep their international interaction with that research group. We also have conferences that have been organized online. The conference from the Brazilian Dental Materials Group that we organized last year. here in Passo Fundo, this year was an online meeting, and we had high quality speakers. The students sent videos with their oral presentations. We had a lot of creative solutions. This year, also, Academy of Dental Materials will be organized now in October. Is an online meeting, free online meeting, a lot of international speakers. So there is room for a lot of new possibilities. We have lives, we have webinars like this one that I'm presenting now. And I could invite all of my international and national collaborators to watch me today. If we were all inside a classroom in the university speaking Portuguese, I would have less people having this discussion today. And also all our project presentations, dissertation, thesis, they have been organized using these web conferences tools. This Friday, Rodrigo will present his thesis, and we can have all of our national and international collaborators participating and watching his thesis presentation. So I believe that we do have new challenges, but there's a lot of room for opportunities. There are a lot of different tools and strategies that we can apply now, so we don't stop this internationalization process. Well, so that was the message I wanted to share with you today. I hope you like it. And I really would like to thank my research group here from Passo Fundo, and also my students and our national and international collaborators. Thank you.
Thank you, Márcia, for your presentation. It was very nice to hear all these wonderful experiences. And at UPF, the dentistry course and your programs of undergraduation and graduation are a kind of motivation for all the courses to improve the internationalization process. And we know that is very important for the university, all this work that you have been doing. And it's really interesting to see and to understand how you created this network with international partners, that some of them are here, Professor Griggs and other people from Mississippi University, and your students are here too, watching and other colleagues from UPF too. From the international office, from UPF, we are very interested in promoting this internationalization at home process. That is very important for all areas, and we understand that dentistry course is an example, a model for us. And as you told, English is sometimes a limitation, a barrier, but we are trying to expand our possibilities. And Cleo is here watching you too. That is one of my students that is trying to promote this internationalization through her research. She is researching and she is promoting, trying to improve, to help the professors and the students of graduate programs to improve their English, to be more engaged in this process. So I think everything you told us is very important for the whole process at UPF. Rodrigo is here too. That was our student there at Letras too. And we have some people saying congratulations Jusemar is here too. Hello, Jusemar. I think he has a question. What has been the main challenge for internationalization of education and research? What to do?
Well, I still believe is the language barrier, because we could see that we could have the funding, the researchers here in University of Passo Fundo, and we had a lot of limitation on engaging more students in the activities. But of course, we did some activities using simultaneous translation, and it worked well. The students participated, but it's difficult. If they don't speak English, they don't feel very comfortable to interact with the visiting scholar. Even when they speak English, they don't feel comfortable. My students, they want to kill me because I'm always pushing them. But I believe that is the English language. That's the main challenge, because we can have activities that don't require funding, like the activity we are doing now, right? It's an online activity. We are sharing experiences, and how many people can we achieve if we don't have any type of translation? So I believe that's the challenge, because our international collaborators, they are very open to interact with us, to receive our students. So I don't think that we have a barrier regarding the collaborations. I think that our barrier now is how to get more people engaged in the process.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I think that the more our professors use English to teach and to promote interactions, the more we can engage in this process of internationalization. The key point for me is English, because we can have interactions, and I think the interaction is the main point too, that without interaction we don't have opportunities to exchange knowledge and so on. And in using English, we can produce articles and share experiences, written experiences, and we can have these opportunities of live interactions that are very important, using technology more and more, that now we are very open to this world of technology. And I think that is something in this crazy moment that we are, that was a positive point. I think that was the only positive thing that we could learn from this moment, is to see that we are able to use technology for this interactions and learning and everything. But I totally agree with you that we need to improve our abilities with English, because this is the only way that we have to interact among the other cultures and other researchers from all over the world.
Yeah, and for example, my students, they were doing the exchange program, and they have classmates from different cultures, from India, China, Spain, all over the world. And that's the common language, is English. We cannot impose that everybody speaks Portuguese. You know, for the cultural part is very important, because that's the universal language where we can engage in the academic activities, but also in these cultural activities as well.
Yes. And we have here a comment from Professor Griggs. Thank you, Professor Borba. These collaborations have educated and stretched me personally, and they have strengthened the graduate program at University of Mississippi, UMMC. Thank you, Professor Griggs, to be here with us.
Yeah, that's a collaboration I'm very proud of, because I was his student. So now that I have the opportunity of send my students, it's like a new level of interaction. Yeah. So That's very nice.
That's true. I don't know if the people who are here have other comments or questions. If not, I will thank everybody. I will thank our partner at Unisc that organized, Chris, that organized all this series of events that are have been very important for the consortium of the universities, community universities of Rio Grande do Sul, and the opportunity that to be here to share some knowledge and some experiences with all the people. And I will invite you for next week too, because we have these webinars every week till the end of November. We still have some. And next week we have at the same time, on the 6th of October at 11 o'clock, and we'll have Dr. Tatiana Vargas from Universidade La Salle that is going to present the hollow core of contemporary international system. So everybody is invited to be here again. And thank you again for everything. Thank you, Márcia. And I hope that we can continue having dentistry as an inspiration, a model for us at the university. Right?
Thank you. Thank you all for listening today. And thanks for the opportunity. I believe that this type of actions are very important for the internationalization process as well.
Okay, so bye-bye and all the best. Keep safe. And if you have the opportunity, stay at home at this moment. That is, we are not safe yet.